following on from last Friday night's huge turnout in Carrickmacross in County Monaghan, where the public took to the streets in unity, peacefully, to show their solidarity and coming together around concerns over public safety and the deterioration of their town, Carrickmacross. This was a public meeting held last Friday night in a park with a march down the streets. No political representatives were in attendance. However, on Tuesday night, 2 days ago, a local Sinn Féin member held his own public meeting where up to 500 people attended, an estimated 500 people attended, and again expressed their concerns. So we're going to hear two testimonies from two women who are particularly concerned not just about their own safety, their own personal safety, but also the safety of their children and grandchildren. And we're also going to hear from a man from Carrickmacross who stood up actually and addressed the gathering on Friday night. His name is Paul Carville, I believe. And yesterday, if you checked out the video with John Wilson, we talked about this in a little bit more detail. This business isn't going away. I believe there's another public meeting organised for Friday week. And until something's done about it, these people are concerned for their safety. They're concerned for the life of not just themselves in some cases, because there's been some very violent incidents or occurrences have happened recently, one of which in particular was a drunken Romanian man who was walking the streets brandishing a knife, threatening and terrorising people. It's just one example. And we're going to hear why these women feel unsafe. And then we're going to hear from this chap who called not just the local politician, but also on Garda Síochána to account. And by the way, it's worth noting that there were no representatives from An Garda Síochána at this public meeting, despite the fact that it was concerns over public safety. They didn't even send a representative to this meeting, despite the fact that the streets and park was full of guards last Friday night. So no representatives at the meeting about public safety. What message is that sending out to the residents of Carrickmacross? So let's hear from these two ladies first of all, and then we'll hear from Paul.
I'm sorry this evening, yes, definitely women, because obviously I grew up in the 80s and I can recall when Carrick had 4 nightclubs and it was more than safe to walk home to my home, we'll say at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Whereas now I am reluctant to walk down the main street at Carrickmacross at 2 p.m. in the afternoon or 3 p.m. I usually take my car with me because I fear every corner I come around. And as some of the individuals have highlighted here this evening, especially if you approach an ATM machine, you tend to be kind of surrounded by large groups of males, and I would find the whole experience totally intimidating. So hence I am reluctant to go to ATM machines, and if I can I will just use my cards in shops or the likes, and I will avoid going to the ATM machines if I'm looking for cash or something like that. I would probably just get cash back in a local store instead.
So here we have a lady that feels intimidated. She can't feel that she can walk the streets of her town in safety anymore. She recollects back in the day there were many nightclubs she could walk home safely at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and not have any concern about it. But now fast forward to 2025 and she feels 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon she won't even walk down the street in broad daylight, has to use her car, feels intimidated using an ATM machine to withdraw cash. When she does, she's being watched by large groups of men. So she goes into the shop, she uses her card, and by the way, there's a transactional fee with every use of a debit card that the local business bears the cost of that, whereas of course if you're using cash that problem's not there. So it's taking cash out of the local economy as well, making more reliance on chipping PIN numbers on your card or tapping debit cards, which hurts business as well. Never mind the fact she's intimidated. She shouldn't be harassed or terrified at the thought of walking the streets to draw out cash.
During the meeting, you expressed concern for the children in Carrickmacross. Can you tell us what that's about?
Well, my kids, when they were growing up, walked to school themselves, came home from school themselves. I have a granddaughter, she's 10 years of age, she goes to the Irish school. And one day I heard her asking her mother, could she walk down from the chapel, which is only a hen's race, like down. She wouldn't allow her. And I'm there, Shauna, the child needs to be able to do things on her own, like she needs. She says, Mum, you don't know what's going on out there. There's no way I can do and let her do that. So that was the kind of, all right, I pulled my horns in. You have to do these things. But I actually did. I went out and I seen what was going on. Seen all this that I cannot believe that is going on. Now, she's in the Irish school. There's foreign nationals in the Irish school. I have nothing against anybody, but I cannot understand how kids is in an Irish school expected to learn Irish when they don't even know English. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Those three words pretty much sum up the state of play, not just in Carrickmacross, but right across Ireland. At the minute, people scratching their heads, people in despair, people are disgusted, and they're saying it doesn't make sense. So this lady, concerned not just about her own safety, her daughter's safety, but also her granddaughter's safety, when she took a look, asked what the big deal was. Again, groups of men loitering around, and not a week ago, man walking the streets drunk, who allegedly had been in the town for 8 to 9 years and still didn't speak English, brandishing a knife, walking up and down the street, intimidating people in cars, terrorising the public. That's just one example. So these are genuine concerns from these women, not just for their own safety, but the safety of their children, and in this lady's case, their grandchild as well. So I'm going to hear from Paul right now, and this is him speaking just after this town meeting. He also spoke at the public meeting last Friday night, spoke very powerfully actually, and was very, very well received. But this is his views just after this town meeting that was held on Tuesday night in Carrickmacross.
I got the mic. I turned around and said to Matt Carty, he's known he's 26 years in the political game because he wasted 20 minutes of our time talking about stuff we already knew. I told him I was the one that called him out last Friday. And then I tore into the young lad and I said, how dare he call me a right-wing, pitchfork-wielding, far-right racist carrying our national flag down in Dublin. I said, the only one ever called me racist was Sinn Féin. And I told him that I wore the flag of my country on my arm for nearly 25 years in the Defence Forces and served 13 times overseas in conflict zones, and he'd some cheek calling me a racist.
And just for information purposes for anyone listening to this outside of Ireland, this gentleman, those two ladies that you heard from, concerned residents, but labelled racists, right-wing extremists by the NGOs and the extreme far left, who are trying to turn this into a race issue, to try and defame these people or mar their characters. These are just normal, everyday people. This man has just testified that he served for 25 years in the Irish Defence Force, overseas multiple times, carrying his flag on the streets of Dublin, being labelled a racist, when he has genuine, legitimate concerns, documented concerns about public safety in his own town. It's insane, or doesn't make sense.
To which everybody cheered, applauded. So I told Matt, the town was in a bad state. There's sunflower seed shells spat every nook, cranny, and every crevice in the footpaths. I says there's Roman gypsy men roaming the streets, loitering, intimidating people. People are afraid. People can't walk at night. There's literally no nightlife, no night economy. Once 8 or 9 o'clock comes, the town is absolutely dead. And I says, if a tourist drove through in a bus and seen all these Roma men instead of Irish people in the street, spitting their crap on the street, I says, they just had the driver keep going, I'm not staying here. And if something wasn't done, the town was going to die an awful death. I left it at that, and thankfully, up to 25 people said their pieces about different things going on in this town, and it just opened the floodgates. Even Matt Carty and the councillors couldn't get over the amount of people who had concerns, who had complaints about the state of the town, the direction it was going in. And even 3 non-nationals got up and spoke with us. A Lithuanian man said, 20 years living in the town, he says, this town is not racist, these are very concerned people, and the direction the town's going in is not good.
The direction of the town is going in is not good. He also talks about the death of the town is dying. Or is it being murdered? Is it being murdered and destroyed on purpose? It's not just naturally dying a death. Things are happening, elements have been introduced that are causing the death of this town in particular. So that's just some more testimonies from people that live there. The lack of acknowledgement, really, by An Garda Síochána, by failing to send a representative to that meeting. Yeah, you can send a statement. Yes, you can send people to police. Public protests, peaceful public protests, public order unit vans there, people standing in the corners, guards standing in the corners, watching everything that was going on. It was peaceful. But when there's groups of men loitering around intimidating women at cash machines, where are they? Where are they? And at a public meeting, for the public to address their concerns over their own safety, not even to send a representative to that meeting. What message is that sending out? What message is that sending out? What message do you take from that, listener? Leave me your thoughts, comments and opinions below, and as always, feel free to cut and paste the links to this video, drop them into WhatsApp groups, drop them into Facebook groups, share them, do whatever you want with them. Make people aware what's going on at the moment in Ireland. For now, I'm Rick Munn, no risk, no reward media, over and out.